Dr. Abigail Warren stared at her computer screen, eyes burning from lack of sleep. The patterns in the data made no sense, yet they were too consistent to be random. For 3 years, she had studied these strange signals caught in what everyone else dismissed as background radiation. Tonight something clicked. There's a pattern, she whispered to herself in the empty lab. The clock on the wall read 3:27 a.m. It repeats every 47.3 seconds. She pulled up decades of archived data, applying her new filter. The pattern was everywhere, stretching back to the earliest deep space recordings from the 1960s. How had everyone missed this? Abigail reached for her phone and called the only person who might understand the importance of her discovery. "Nathan, it's Abigail. I need you to come to the lab right now." Nathan Cole arrived 30 minutes later, his hair disheveled and eyes heavy with sleep. As the lead astrophysicist at NASA's SETI division, he was used to middle-of-the-night revelations from his team, but Abigail was different. She never called unless it was important. "This better be good," he yawned, setting his coffee on the desk. "It's not good, Nathan. It's amazing." Abigail pointed to her screen. "Look at this pattern. It's in everything we've ever recorded from deep space. But it's not random noise. It's structured, like language." Nathan leaned forward, suddenly awake. "That's not possible. We've been looking for signals like this for centuries. We were looking in the wrong places. These aren't radio waves or light pulses. They're embedded in what we thought was background radiation. They've been hitting Earth consistently, probably for thousands of years." The implications washed over Nathan like a cold wave. "Are you saying someone's been trying to talk to us this whole time?" "Not just trying. Succeeding." Abigail pulled up another screen showing ancient cave paintings from sites around the world. "Look at these patterns in prehistoric art. They match stellar constellations, but not randomly. They follow the same sequence as these signals." Nathan stared in disbelief. "You think ancient humans were recording these messages?" "I think they were seeing something they didn't understand but knew was important enough to document." For the next week, Abigail and Nathan worked nonstop, bringing in more linguists and cryptographers. They converted the patterns into visual forms, sound waves, and finally mathematical sequences. On day 9, Abigail collapsed into her chair, hands shaking. "I've got it, the first message." The room fell silent as everyone gathered around her screen. "Stay silent. They are listening." Abigail's voice was barely above a whisper. "That's what it says." "Who's listening?" asked Sam Peters, a young cryptographer who had joined the team. Nathan looked grim. "That's what we need to find out." 1,000 miles away, aboard the research vessel ISS Horizon, orbiting near Jupiter's moons, Captain William Hayes frowned at the unusual readings on his instrument panel. An energy signature unlike anything he'd ever seen flickered at the edge of the solar system. "Hey, Karen, come take a look at this," he called to his science officer. Karen Lewis leaned over his shoulder, her brow furrowing. "That doesn't match any known cosmic phenomenon in our database. Could it be a sensor malfunction?" Karen shook her head. 3 different systems are picking it up. Whatever it is, it's real." The energy signature pulsed once, twice, then disappeared. "Log it and send the data back to Earth," William ordered. "Maybe someone there can make sense of it." Back at NASA, Abigail's team had decoded 4 more messages, each one more disturbing than the last. They hunt those who reach beyond. "Your silence has saved you. The Valtari rule through fear. We are many but hidden." "This is incredible," said Dr. Linda Moore, the project director who had initially been skeptical of Abigail's findings. "We're reading messages that have been bombarding Earth for centuries. But who's sending them?" Sam asked the question everyone was thinking. "And who are the Valtari?" Abigail pulled up a star map on the main screen. "Based on signal triangulation, these messages are coming from multiple sources spread across at least 20 different star systems. Whoever's sending them is widespread, or desperate enough to set up transmitters everywhere." Nathan pointed to one cluster of sources. "These are coming from the direction of the Orion Arm. If we could somehow respond, that might be exactly what we're being warned not to do." Linda interrupted. "Stay silent, they are listening. Remember? The lab door burst open as a young assistant rushed in. Dr. Warren, data just came in from the ISS horizon. They detected an unknown energy signature at the edge of the solar system. Abigail felt her blood run cold. When? About 6 hours ago. It was brief, then disappeared. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. We need to inform the government, Linda finally said. This goes beyond scientific discovery. Within 24 hours, Abigail and Nathan found themselves in a secure underground facility, explaining their findings to a room full of military officers and government officials. General Frank Wilkins looked unimpressed. So you're telling me aliens have been sending us mail for thousands of years and we're just now checking our inbox? That's one way to put it, Abigail replied. But yes, these messages have been consistent. They're warnings. Warnings about these Valtari? Asked a woman in a dark suit who hadn't introduced herself. Yes. And based on what we've decoded so far, there's some kind of galactic ruling power that conquers developing civilizations. Nathan stepped forward. The messages suggest Earth has remained undetected because our technology developed along different lines than most alien civilizations. Our radio signals and energy emissions don't register on their detection systems. General Wilkins frowned. If that's true, why risk contacting us at all? Wouldn't that expose both them and us? The messages aren't on frequencies that the Valtari monitor, Abigail explained. They're hidden in what most species consider background noise. Exactly where we found them. The room buzzed with whispered conversations until an older man stood up from the back. Do we know who's sending these warnings? They call themselves the Guardians, Abigail said. A coalition of species hiding from the Valtari, and they've been trying to reach us for a very, very long time. As if on cue, every phone in the room beeped simultaneously. The woman in the dark suit checked hers first, her face paling. The ISS horizon just reported multiple energy signatures matching the previous one, she said. But they're closer now. Much closer. In the silence that followed, Abigail thought of the cave paintings, of ancient humans looking up at the stars and somehow knowing they needed to record what they saw. How long had Earth been part of a cosmic game it didn't know it was playing? We need to respond to the Guardians, she said firmly. Now that we've finally heard them, they might be our only hope. 6 months passed since Abigail's discovery. The government had created a special department for the study of the alien messages. They called it Project Guardian, and it operated from a secret underground facility in Nevada. Abigail led a team of 50 scientists working day and night to decode more messages. We've translated nearly 300 messages now, Abigail told Nathan as they reviewed the latest findings. The picture is becoming clearer, and honestly, it scares me. The room they worked in was filled with computers and large screens, showing star maps, decoded messages, and timelines. Coffee cups littered every surface. Nathan nodded, his face showing the strain of months of intensive work. The Valtari aren't just conquerors, they're collectors. They absorb technologies and species into their collective. Like a galactic ant colony, Abigail said. Except they're not interested in cooperation. They want control. The door opened and Patricia Davis walked in. As the lead engineer on the project, she had been working on ways to communicate with the Guardians. Her eyes were bright with excitement. The quantum entanglement device is ready, she announced. If the Guardians are monitoring the frequencies they've been sending messages on, they should detect our response. Gregory Norton followed Patricia into the room. As the government's representative, he had argued against contacting anyone. This is a mistake, he said. We've remained hidden for thousands of years. Why expose ourselves now? Because we're running out of time, Abigail replied. She pulled up recent data from space telescopes. These energy signatures have been appearing more frequently at the edges of our solar system. Something is changing. Nathan pointed to a specific section of data. The Guardians' messages warn that the Valtari update their detection systems every few centuries. We think they're starting to adapt to frequencies closer to what human technology uses, meaning they'll find us soon, Patricia added. Gregory shook his head. All the more reason to stay quiet and hope they pass us by. Hope isn't a strategy, Abigail said firmly. The Guardians have technology that's helped them hide for millennia. We need that knowledge. The debate continued for hours, but in the end, the decision was made. They would contact the Guardians using the quantum entanglement device Patricia had built based on principles gleaned from the messages. The device looked simple, a small black box with a crystal core that glowed with blue light. Patricia typed a carefully crafted message into the connected computer. Guardians, we hear you. Earth has received your warnings. We seek your guidance. She pressed enter. The crystal pulsed once, twice, then returned to its steady glow. Now, we wait, Patricia said. They didn't have to wait long. 3 days later, at exactly midnight, the crystal began to pulse rapidly. The computer screen filled with symbols that the translation program quickly converted to English. Earth has awakened. We have waited. Prepare for contact. The message included coordinates for a remote location in the Arizona desert. Abigail, Nathan, Patricia, Gregory, and a small security team arrived at the spot the next night. The area was empty except for ancient rock formations under a star-filled sky. Are we sure this is the right place? Gregory asked, checking his watch nervously. Before anyone could answer, a soft hum filled the air. Above them, the stars seemed to bend and shift. A shape formed in the sky, sleek, silvery, and completely silent. It was a ship, but unlike any human design. It descended slowly, touching down on the desert floor without raising a speck of dust. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a door appeared in the smooth hull, and a figure stepped out. The alien was humanoid, standing about, 7 feet tall with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Its eyes were large and almond-shaped, glowing with a soft inner light. It wore simple robes that moved like liquid around its slender frame. I am Lyra, the alien said in perfect English. I speak for the Guardians. We have watched your world for a very long time. Gregory stepped back in shock, but Abigail moved forward. How are you speaking our language? We have studied all Earth communications since you began broadcasting, Lyra replied. But more importantly, we have waited for you to understand our messages. Lyra explained that the Guardians were a coalition of 17 different species, who had all escaped detection or conquest by the Valtari Collective. Some had been hiding for thousands of years, developing technologies that masked their presence. The Valtari rule through fear and assimilation, Lyra told them as they sat around a small fire later that night. They seek out developing civilizations, once they reach certain technological thresholds. What kind of thresholds? Patricia asked. Faster than light travel is one, Lyra said. Extensive use of antimatter is another. Advanced quantum communications. Lyra looked at Patricia's device. What you built should have triggered their sensors, but you developed it along principles they don't monitor. Nathan leaned forward. That's what your messages meant about our technology being different? Lyra nodded. Human technology evolved along unique lines. Your use of radio waves, nuclear power, and computer systems, they all operate on frequencies and principles the Valtari have never encountered. This is why you've remained undetected. But you said that's changing, Abigail reminded her. Yes, the Valtari update their detection systems periodically. Their newest satellites can detect frequencies closer to what humans use. We estimate you have months, perhaps a year, before they find Earth. Gregory's face paled. What happens when they find us? They will come with ships beyond your ability to resist, Lyra said simply. They will take your best minds, absorb your unique technologies, and add Earth to their collection. Can we fight them? Asked Sam, one of the security officers. Lyra's expression was sad. The Guardians have never dared. The Valtari fleets are too vast, their weapons too powerful. We choose to hide instead. Then why contact us at all? Gregory demanded. Why not let us keep hiding too? Because you are different, Lyra said, looking directly at Abigail. Your technology follows different principles, and there is something else, a quality in humans we have observed. You call it determination, resilience. Hope, Abigail suggested. Yes, Lyra agreed. The Guardians have lost hope over the centuries. We watch, we hide, we survive. But you, Earth might have a chance to do more. The meeting lasted until dawn. Before leaving, Lyra gave them a small device. This will shield your communications from Valtari detection. We will return in 7 days with more technology we can share. As the alien ship rose silently into the sky, Gregory turned to Abigail. You realize this changes everything? Yes, she replied, watching the ship disappear among the stars. It means Earth isn't alone anymore and we have work to do. True to her word, Lyra returned 7 days later. This time she brought 3 other Guardians with her. Each looked different. One had scaled green skin, another appeared almost like living crystal, and the third had 4 arms and eyes that wrapped around its head. They landed at the new meeting place, a secure military base in the mountains of Colorado. Dr. Kevin Morrison, the lead military scientist assigned to Project Guardian, watched in awe as the aliens unloaded crates of technology from their ship. Unlike the sleek designs humans might have expected, Guardian technology looked organic with flowing lines and surfaces that changed color when touched. These shields will mask your energy signatures, Lyra explained, showing them a device that resembled a smooth river stone. Place them around your important facilities and they will bend Valtari scanning technology around them. Kevin picked up one of the stones, turning it over in his hands. How does it work? It creates a field that redirects attention, said the crystalline Guardian. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. Not invisibility, but something like it. The Valtari will look and see nothing worth noting. For the next 3 days, Kevin and his team studied the alien technology. They tried to connect it to human systems but encountered numerous problems. The Guardian tech responded to thought and touch in ways that human interfaces couldn't match. It's like trying to connect a computer from the 1950s to a quantum brain, Kevin told Abigail in frustration. The principles are too different. Abigail watched as another test failed, the Guardian shield flickering and then shutting down when connected to the human power grid. Then something clicked in her mind. Maybe that's not a problem, she said, slowly. Maybe that's our advantage. That evening they gathered in the base's conference room. Maps and diagrams covered the walls. General Frank Wilkins had joined them, along with Lieutenant Sophia Reed, a young officer with a background in unconventional warfare. The Valtari detect civilizations by looking for specific energy patterns and technologies, Abigail explained, but they've never found humans because our technology evolved differently. Kevin nodded, continuing her thought. I've analyzed the Guardian tech. It's based on principles completely foreign to us. Quantum entanglement, consciousness-responsive materials, things we're just beginning to understand. And the Valtari? General Wilkins asked. They use similar principles, Lyra confirmed. All advanced species we know developed along similar technological paths, except humans. Lieutenant Reed leaned forward. So our tech is invisible to them because it's too primitive? Not primitive, Kevin corrected. Just different. Like developing digital technology in a universe where everyone else uses analog. They're not even looking for what we built. This is why we sought contact with Earth, Lyra said. For millennia, the Guardians have hidden from the Valtari, but we never considered fighting them. Your technology might change that. Lieutenant Reed stood up and walked to the map. If human tech is invisible to Valtari sensors, that gives us an advantage. We could move through their territory undetected. The room fell silent as everyone considered this. We detected a Valtari scout ship entering the outer solar system this morning, Lyra said quietly. They haven't noticed Earth yet, but they will. We have perhaps 2 weeks before they complete their scan. General Wilkins looked grim. Can your shields protect the entire planet? No, Lyra admitted. We don't have enough. And they would detect the shields themselves. Lieutenant Reed tapped the map thoughtfully. What if we don't hide? What if we use our invisibility to strike first? Everyone turned to look at her. The Valtari have never been challenged, she continued. They've never had to fight someone, They can't see coming. If we can get close enough to their ship, it would be dangerous, Lyra warned. The Valtari ships carry weapons beyond your understanding. But they can't hit what they can't detect, Reed countered, and we have 2 weeks to prepare. The next 10 days were a blur of activity. Under Lieutenant Reed's direction, a small team modified a human space shuttle with Guardian communications technology. The plan was simple but bold. Approach the Valtari scout ship using human propulsion systems, which the aliens couldn't detect, then plant a Guardian device that would corrupt the scout's sensors. If this works, Kevin explained to the team, the scout will report that our solar system contains nothing of interest. They'll move on. And if it doesn't work? Nathan asked. Kevin didn't answer. On the 12th day, the modified shuttle launched from Earth carrying a crew of 3 humans and 3 Guardians. Lieutenant Reed led the human team, while Lyra represented the Guardians. From the command center on Earth, Abigail and Nathan watched the shuttle's progress through a special link provided by Guardian technology. They're approaching the Valtari ship, Nathan reported, staring at the screen. It's massive, at least 10 times the size of our shuttle. The Valtari vessel resembled a dark metallic spiderweb stretched around a central sphere. It hung motionless at the edge of the solar system, its sensors sweeping methodically through space. No reaction from the Valtari, Abigail noted as the shuttle drew closer. They really can't see us. On the shuttle, Lieutenant Reed guided the craft carefully toward the alien ship. Through the viewports, the enormous dark structure loomed before them. We're within range, Reed reported back to Earth, preparing to attach the sensor package. The shuttle moved alongside the Valtari ship, coming to a stop near what appeared to be a sensor array. 2 of the Guardians prepared to spacewalk and attach their device to the hull. That's when everything went wrong. A section of the Valtari ship suddenly glowed red. A beam of energy lanced out, striking the shuttle's engine. They've seen us, Reed shouted over the communication link, taking evasive action. Impossible, Lyra said, her voice tight with fear. Our intelligence must be outdated. They must have adapted new detection methods. The shuttle spun away from the Valtari ship, one engine damaged, but still functioning. The Valtari fired again, but the shot went wide. They can detect us, Reed realized, but their targeting systems aren't working properly. Our technology's confusing them. With half power, Reed managed to pilot the shuttle behind a small moon, temporarily hiding them from the Valtari. We need a new plan, she told the team. They can see us, but can't get a clear lock. That gives us an advantage. The scaled Guardian, who had been silent until now, spoke up. If human technology disrupts their systems, perhaps we should use more of it, not less. Reed looked at the Guardian, then smiled slowly. You're right. We don't run. We go closer. Against all caution, Reed piloted the damaged shuttle directly toward the Valtari ship. The alien vessel fired repeatedly, but each shot missed by wider margins as they approached. Their systems are going haywire, Kevin observed from Earth watching the data stream. Our technology isn't just invisible to them. It actively interferes with their systems at close range. The shuttle reached the Valtari ship and maneuvered along its surface. Reed found what looked like an intake port and positioned the shuttle nearby. Deploying package, she reported calmly. One of the Guardians released not the original sensor-corrupting device, but something new. A small box of Earth electronics wired to a Guardian power source. The makeshift device attached to the Valtari ship and began pulsing with energy. Package delivered, Reed confirmed. Withdrawing now. As the shuttle pulled away, the Valtari ship's lights flickered. Its weapon systems went dark. The massive vessel began to drift, its systems apparently in chaos. What did you do? Abigail asked over the comm. We gave them a taste of human technology, Reed replied. Turns out they really don't like it. Back on Earth, as the shuttle made its damaged but triumphant return, a new understanding dawned. Humanity had something the galaxy's rulers had never encountered before. Technology that didn't just hide from them but actively disrupted their systems. This changes everything, Abigail said, looking at Lyra. Doesn't it? Lyra nodded slowly. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Guardians have hope. News of the successful mission against the Valtari scout ship spread quickly through both human and Guardian networks. For the first time, the Guardians saw the Valtari as vulnerable. Earth became a beacon of hope for species that had been hiding, in fear for millennia. 3 months after the encounter, Earth and the Guardians formed an official alliance. Commander Daniel Foster sat at the head of a large conference table, looking at the faces around him, both human and alien. 8 ship captains had been selected for the most ambitious mission yet. Operation Blackout begins in 48 hours. Daniel announced, his voice steady despite the weight of responsibility. Each ship will take a different route to its target system. Our goal is to establish jammers at key Valtari monitoring stations across Guardian space. The plan was daring. 8 Earth vessels equipped with hybrid technology would travel to different star systems under Valtari control. Each would deploy devices that combined human electronics with Guardian power sources, the same combination that had disabled the scout ship. Laura Winters, a systems engineer who had helped design the jammers, pulled up a holographic map. The jammers will create dead zones in the Valtari detection network. For the first time in thousands of years, entire star systems will be hidden from them. Won't they notice their stations going dark? Asked Jason Baldwin, another engineer who would be piloting one of the ships. Eventually, Daniel admitted, but the Valtari have grown complacent. Their empire is vast. It could take months before they realize these aren't just equipment failures. Lyra, now the official Guardian ambassador to Earth, added, the Valtari rely almost entirely on automated systems. They have few actual living operators. Their strength is also their weakness. The mission launched 2 days later. The 8 ships, former Earth military vessels modified with Guardian technology, left the solar system using different exit vectors. Daniel commanded the lead ship, with Lyra joining him as advisor. Laura and Jason took command of 2 other vessels. The journey through space was tense. While human propulsion systems were invisible to Valtari sensors, they were also much slower than Guardian technology. It would take weeks to reach the target systems. On the 3rd week, Laura's ship arrived at its destination, a small orange star with 3 planets and a massive Valtari monitoring station orbiting the outermost world. From a safe distance, she observed the station through powerful telescopes. It's exactly as the Guardians described, she reported back to Earth. The station is fully automated. No signs of living crew. Proceed with caution, came the reply from Mission Control. Deploy the jammer only when you're certain it's safe. Laura's team prepared their device, a seemingly simple box of Earth electronics connected to a Guardian power core. What made it special was how it worked. The human components generated signals that disrupted Valtari systems, while the Guardian technology amplified and spread those signals across vast distances. The closer we get, the more their systems will be affected, Laura told her crew. We'll approach slowly and watch for any reaction. They moved toward the station, tension mounting with every mile. At 500 miles out, they spotted the first effect. Lights on the station flickering erratically. Their systems are starting to react to our presence, Laura noted. But no defensive measures yet. At 200 miles, several sections of the station went dark completely. No alarm signals were detected, no rescue ships appeared. The station was truly autonomous. Deploying jammer, Laura announced when they reached the optimal distance. The device, released from the ship's cargo bay, activated automatically and began broadcasting its disruptive signal. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The entire station went dark, its systems completely overwhelmed by the unfamiliar technology. Laura's sensors confirmed it had stopped all transmissions to the Valtari network. First jammer successfully deployed, she reported back to Earth. The station is blind and mute. Similar success stories came in from other ships over the following days. 6 of the 8 missions deployed their jammers without incident. The Valtari detection network was developing blind spots across Guardian space. Jason's mission proved more challenging. His target was a junction station that connected multiple monitoring outposts. When his ship approached, automated defense Systems activated despite the disruption. Taking evasive action, Jason reported as energy beams sliced through space around his vessel. Their weapons can't lock on us properly, but they're firing in patterns. Using the confusion his ship's presence created in the Valtari systems, Jason executed a daring maneuver, flying directly into the path of a weapon and veering away at the last second. The weapon's tracking systems overcorrected and fired on, the station itself damaging its defenses. Opportunity spotted, Jason reported, moving in to deploy. His jammer successfully activated, shutting down the junction station completely. 7 jammers now operated in Valtari space. Only Daniel's mission remained. Daniel had the most dangerous target, a central command hub that coordinated Valtari operations across an entire sector. Unlike the other stations, this one showed signs of having actual Valtari present. "We're picking up movement inside the station," Daniel told Lyra as they observed from a distance. "Those aren't automated systems." "Actual Valtari," Lyra confirmed, her voice tight with ancient fear. "No Guardian has seen one in person for generations." "What do they look like?" Daniel asked. "No one knows anymore. They may not even have physical forms as we understand them." Daniel considered their options. "The jammer might not be enough here. We need more information." Intelligence Officer Eric Martinez suggested a bold plan. "The Valtari can't detect our technology or get clear readings on us. I could board the station, gather intelligence, and place the jammer internally for maximum effect." The idea was risky but promising. Using a small craft built entirely with Earth technology, Eric approached the station undetected. He found a maintenance access point and entered using tools designed to interface with both human and Guardian systems. What Eric discovered inside changed everything. The station was largely automated, but at its core was a chamber containing what appeared to be a single Valtari entity, a swirling mass of energy contained within a crystalline structure. The entity was connected to countless data streams but showed no awareness of Eric's presence. "It's not even looking for us," Eric whispered into his communicator. "It can't conceive of technology like ours existing." He placed the jammer near the central chamber and activated it. The effect was instantaneous, the energy being writhed and the crystal housing it cracked. The entire station began shutting down system by system. Eric barely made it back to his craft before the station's life support failed. As he rejoined Daniel's ship, he transmitted his findings. "The Valtari, they're not a species in the way we understand," he reported. "They're energy beings completely dependent on their technology, and that technology cannot comprehend or adapt to ours." Back on Earth, Abigail had continued decoding ancient Guardian messages. She called an emergency meeting with Nathan and the project leaders. "I found something in the oldest messages," she announced. "A reference to a species called the predecessors who fought the Valtari thousands of years ago and nearly won." "What happened to them?" Nathan asked. "They were defeated," Abigail said. "But the messages suggest their technology was similar to ours, developed along principles the Valtari couldn't easily counter." "And now we're walking the same path," Nathan realized. "But with one key difference," Abigail pointed out. "We have the Guardians as allies. The predecessors fought alone." As the final jammer came online, a new phase of the resistance began. For the first time in recorded history, the Valtari collective faced an enemy they couldn't detect, couldn't understand, and couldn't easily defeat. In the darkness of space, hope spread from system to system, planet to planet. Earth was no longer alone, and the galaxy's rulers no longer unchallenged. 1 year after Operation Blackout began, the galaxy had changed. What started as 8 jammers disrupting Valtari detection systems had grown into a full rebellion. Dozens of previously hidden alien civilizations emerged from the shadows to join the Earth Guardian Alliance. Admiral Olivia Carter stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, Earth's first true warship built with a combination of human and Guardian technology. Through the view screen, she watched as the combined fleet assembled. Over 200 ships of various designs and origins gathered in deep space, beyond the reach of Valtari sensors. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said her communications officer. Olivia nodded. "Send the signal. Operation Liberation begins, now. The past year had been one of rapid development and discovery. Earth scientists working with Guardian engineers had created new weapons that combined human electronic disruption technology with Guardian power systems. Guardian species had begun adapting human technological principles, creating hybrid systems the Valtari could neither detect nor counter effectively. Meanwhile, the Valtari had not been idle. As more of their monitoring stations went dark, they sent larger ships to investigate. But each encounter only confirmed what Eric Martinez had discovered. The energy beings were completely dependent on their technology, and that technology was fundamentally vulnerable to human interference. Benjamin Scott, a programmer who had joined the Alliance effort 6 months earlier, had made the most crucial breakthrough. By analyzing data from multiple encounters with Valtari systems, he developed an algorithm that could predict and exploit the weaknesses in Valtari communication networks. Their entire empire operates on automated systems, Benjamin had explained to Olivia during the mission briefing. These systems all connect back to central coordination hubs. If we can disrupt those hubs, their entire network will collapse. Now, the Allied fleet moved toward the largest such hub, a massive structure orbiting a dying star near the center of Valtari territory. Intelligence gathered by Guardian scouts suggested this hub controlled Valtari operations across nearly a third of the galaxy. As they approached the target system, Olivia addressed the fleet. For thousands of years, the Valtari have ruled through fear. They've conquered worlds, absorbed technologies, and collected species like toys. Today, that ends. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Immediately, alarms blared across the bridge of the Defiant. Multiple Valtari vessels detected, reported the sensor officer. They're moving to intercept. Olivia had expected this. They've adapted somewhat to our presence. Deploy countermeasures. The human ships moved to the front of the formation, their engines generating the electronic noise that disrupted Valtari systems. The Guardian vessels followed in their wake, protected by the interference. The Valtari ships, massive constructs of dark metal and pulsing energy, fired weapons that twisted space itself. But their targeting systems faltered in the presence of human technology. Most shots went wide, and those that connected did minimal damage against the hybrid shields. Press forward, Olivia ordered. All ships, commence attack pattern Delta. The Allied fleet split into 3 groups, approaching the Valtari forces from different vectors. Human ships led each group, creating zones of disruption that confused and disabled Valtari systems. On the Defiance bridge, Benjamin monitored the data flowing through his specialized console. Their communication network is already showing strain, he reported. The disruptive field is working. The battle intensified as they pushed deeper into the system. More Valtari ships arrived, showing signs of adaptation. Their weapons began finding targets more accurately, though still hampered by the human-generated interference. They're learning, Olivia noted grimly. Launch Phase 2. Small, fast craft detached from the larger vessels. These were piloted by mixed human Guardian crews and carried specialized devices designed by Benjamin. They darted between the massive Valtari ships, attaching the devices to their hulls. First wave of disruptors activated, Benjamin announced. His fingers flew across his console, sending activation codes to the devices. Initiating system cascade. The attached devices began broadcasting signals designed to infiltrate and corrupt Valtari command systems. The effect rippled through their fleet. Weapons powered down, engines stalled, and communication ceased between ships. We've created isolated pockets, Benjamin explained. Their ships can't coordinate anymore. With the Valtari fleet in disarray, the Allied forces pressed toward the central hub. It was an enormous structure, a sphere surrounded by spinning rings, all pulsing with the same energy seen inside the Valtari entities. Scan the hub, Olivia ordered. Find their weak points. The scan revealed something unexpected. At the center of the hub was not one but thousands of energy beings all connected to the system. It's their central collective, Lyra said from her position as advisor on the bridge. The source of their consciousness and control. Olivia considered. this information. Can we disable it without destroying them completely? We should, Lyra replied. The Guardians have hidden for generations, but we never sought to commit genocide. Benjamin offered a solution. My algorithm can disrupt their communication network without destabilizing the energy matrix that sustains them. They'll be isolated but alive. Do it, Olivia ordered. The Allied fleet surrounded the hub, fighting through the remaining Valtari defenses. When they reached optimal position, Benjamin activated the final phase of his program. Every ship in the fleet began broadcasting specific frequencies that penetrated the hub's defenses. Inside the hub, the energy patterns of the Valtari collective flickered as their connections were severed one by one. The spinning ring slowed, then stopped. The pulsing light dimmed but didn't extinguish completely. Their network is collapsing system-wide, Benjamin reported, watching the data stream across his screen. The command signals have ceased. Throughout Valtari space, their automated ships and weapons lost coordination. Defense systems went dormant. Monitoring stations shut down completely. For the first time in thousands of years, the iron grip of the Valtari collective loosened. 3 days later, Olivia stood in a vast chamber on a neutral planet, watching, as representatives from dozens of species gathered. Some were Guardians who had hidden for generations. Others were from worlds recently freed from Valtari control. In the center of the chamber, contained in a special device, was a single Valtari energy being, the first to communicate directly with other species in millennia. We have existed as the collective for so long, we forgot what it meant to be individuals, the Valtari representative communicated through a translator. Your disruption has awakened us to ourselves again. The peace negotiations were complex and would continue for years, but the age of Valtari domination was over. A new galactic council was forming, with Earth holding a prominent position. Back on Earth, Abigail stood on a hillside near the original site where they had first met Lyra. Nathan joined her, looking up at the stars. I found something interesting. In the oldest cave paintings, Abigail told him. Drawings that match Guardian biological signatures. I think humans and Guardians connected briefly in prehistoric times before losing contact. Full circle, Nathan said, smiling. We weren't just receiving their messages for all those years. In some way, we were always meant to answer them. Above them, the night sky was filled with more stars than ever before. Or perhaps they were. The lights of ships coming and going freely in a galaxy no longer ruled by fear. Earth had taken its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as liberators. The message that had started it all, stay silent, they are listening, had served its purpose. Now a new message spread across the galaxy. Speak freely, we are all listening.